Alrighty, so this is just We the People News. One more time at it, y'all. Alrighty, so let's see if I can kind of get this lined out a little better. I just got this rigged up a particular way from me. Okay, uh, so this YouTube is called the Legal Beagles. Okay, Beagles. Just in case it don't show very good on the screen, my phone looks a little out of focus. I don't know if it's because of my vision without my glasses or little colors. Okay, so therefore, remember everybody, all right, never look straight forward. Always look around you, be able to protect yourself by any means necessary. So in the state of Texas, this is where Brett is. Um, You've seen past videos, maybe, allegedly. Randy Kelton. Okay, well, Randy Kelton, Brett, and who's Eddie Craig, they kind of work together. Okay, they have their own expertise and what they do in law, of law. All right, so this is Brett, which I can't find very much of. So this was kind of a blessing under disguise when I came across this. But in Texas, all traffic tickets are crimes. Okay, so we talked about it in previous videos, right? There's a particular way a crime must be legislated through. Okay, so this is a little bit of an idea to how to learn the process that you must box them in. Okay, we talked about boxing them in. Since it's a crime, just any all traffic tickets, well, they have to go by the criminal codes, which nobody does. So let's proceed forward on this and see what Brett has to say. All right. And by the way, he's fought tickets all the way to the Fifth Circuit. Okay. Go to Legal Beagle if you want to see his beginning story of how he started learning the legal process, if you must. And the same coincidence as me, right? Was in court. Cops went on the officer's side and wasn't going to rule against his officer, even though I pay the officer, so he's my officer. All right, let's go.
What you tend to run into, but
I think America as a whole runs into the municipality a lot more than anyone else.
Yep, exactly.
Sometimes the state, sometimes the feds, but mainly the municipality.
Right, and those guys running around in, I hesitate to lump everybody into peace officers because some of them are doing different kinds of tasks, but the ones that work for the city are that's the ones we commonly run into for traffic stuff, right?
That's right. License plate, speeding.
Yeah. So, of course, at more advanced levels, like you're involved at a lot higher levels in legal arenas here. But a lot of people, when they first start out, they don't know anything, and they're not trying to stir up trouble with anybody. They just either they forgot that there's something was expired, or for whatever reason a sticker is out or something, and grandmother's sick. I went to take care of her and came back and found a citation from the code enforcement saying my grass is too tall, or all kinds of things like that. And you get looped into having to deal with the city courts.
Yeah, we've already talked to Tate on here, so we've heard about the grass. Talked to Jimmy Jones, so we know about the license plate. We know about the mask not getting in the court. It's just on and on and on. So I think those are the things you're talking about.
There's a guy, Jerry, in Pennsylvania that you probably want to talk to about grass police. How he kicked their butts in the Fed.
Send him my way. I'd love to.
But yeah, let's just go over some basic things that when people get in trouble with the law, so to speak, the law enforcement officers, they think they are the law.
That's
And
what
the
they tell us.
prosecutors think they're the law. And the judges think they're the law. And obviously they're not. The law it's in black and white, it's written down. It's from our legislators. But let's talk about what to do when you've been dragged into these quicksands of court against your will. You got some kind of citation, and you're going to have to show up and, as they call it, appear. And what does that even mean, to appear? But so one of them would be traffic tickets, and one would be code enforcement. And with either one of these, you have to take a look and see first, what is the nature and cause? The nature of some kind of wrongdoing you've been accused of, the nature is going to be like criminal. Is it a civil matter? Is it maybe it's an administrative thing because you're being accused of violating some code, some ordinance of a city, and so the ways that you're going to be able to responding to these issues are different depending on the nature and cause. So let's take traffic. Let's take in most states they consider it as a criminal thing. So that's probably the first thing you want to try to figure out is in your state. You can even do this before there's an issue. I made a note about that.
Yeah, so Jimmy was telling us that when you go to municipal court citation, they convert it to a criminal situation, and that's when he was able to do discovery and really nail him to the wall.
Yes, and you absolutely do have discovery if yeah. So if it's a code enforcement issue, which I don't know what Jimmy's dealing with and what the state was. In Texas, it's already criminal from the beginning. And in most states I looked at, Florida doesn't. Florida starts out with, they call it a civil infraction. There's several others that do that. They start out, but then they say if you don't pay by a certain time, well, now it's becoming criminal.
So pause it, whether you go on his channel or this channel, write these things down, right? This is going to be your list for you to guideline and start writing your box in court documents. This is how you're going to box them in under their procedures. Okay? So write these things down, put it on the side, and like they said, start looking it up. So if it comes up, you don't have this last minute decisions and you can take your time doing this.
And if you don't show up, they have a different reason why that becomes a criminal. But in Texas, it starts out criminal. They say this particular wrongdoing that you're accused of doing, now it's state versus you. That's a crime.
Wow.
So I would say before, ideally, these are some things I put up here on the screen, some things that it's good to go ahead and know before you run into the situation. You can wait and do it later, but it's really helpful if you already know, and then you don't feel like you're under the gun when it's time to hurry up and figure out how to respond. Like, it's good to know, what is this? Transportation, here we go. Is this a civil or a criminal matter? When they say that you've violated something, your license plate is unlit, or the bulbs that light it are too dim, and where are they dragging you in? Are they dragging you in as this is a crime, or are they dragging you in as you violated the contractual agreement that you made? Because you handle it differently, right?
And so
this is more general here. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and so that was the issue here in the circuit. They didn't want to address the revenue agents that took police power, tracked revenue from the inhabitants. They didn't want to address that. They kind of made fun of it.
No, that's completely appropriate to bring up. I mean, they're out of line to do that. So if they're trying to apply something that's their own rules inside their own corporation, and they're trying to apply that outside the corporation and impose it on the public as if it's binding law. Well,
And just so you guys know, he may or may not bring it up, but when they bring it outside and put these things on you, that's what they call outside of the four corners. Okay, they're bringing something they're supposed to go by. They're dragging you into it. But that's outside of the four corners of law.
They're essentially impersonating a legislative official. They
We've seen that with Tate and the grass.
Yeah, exactly.
They try to make their own quote unquote laws, but in fact, it's just like a rule that Taco Bell made.
Exactly.
We
They
don't
say you're
follow
supposed to
Taco
wear a
Bell
purple
laws.
shirt, and if you don't wear a purple shirt, you're going to, be in trouble. You don't work for Taco Bell, so you don't have to follow those rules.
Correct.
So here we have a couple of items that it's good to go ahead and look up. And the reason I'm going to suggest you look these up, everybody in their own state, is to go ahead and know not only for defending yourself when accusations are made, but also for the unfortunate. I wish I could say it's not necessary to hold everybody accountable, but unfortunately, they're going to put themselves in a position where they really deserve a spanking. I'm sorry, but that's what they're going to do. And so be ready for that. And don't let it get under your skin like a sense of betrayal. Just go ahead and be a grown up about it and be aware that this is how they're going to act and recognize that you're going to have to give them a spanking. And so in order to do that, you need to know, what does due process look like? And I'm specifically speaking to crimes. When a criminal complaint needs to be made, whether it's an officer who is saying he's swearing such and such facts that lead up to an offense that you supposedly committed, or whether it's you swearing out some facts that you're saying this is the truth, this is XYZ fact, which each one of these facts is going to relate to essential elements of a cause of action, a criminal cause of action. You're going to point out that this officer or that clerk or that judge or that prosecutor did X, Y, and Z in the absence of this and so forth. So you lay these facts out. And when you have a criminal complaint, where does that go? Take a look at what your local law says about who's a magistrate. Typically, it's going to be magistrates and grand juries who we, the people, are directed to give this notice of crime. Sometimes you'll find Pennsylvania is a strange example about what's different there. They handle theirs differently, but most states you will find that you need to go to a grand jury or a magistrate. Magistrates are much easier to find. Grand juries are kind of this little secret thing going on.
So, and again, I'm interrupting, but that's something to be let known as well. Again, I'm not an attorney and not giving legal advice. Do your own research. Okay, it's educational purposes only. So, we go down and we file a complaint against the officers. Where? Where they investigate themselves. Well, instead of taking it to the officers, which investigates themselves, you take it to one or two places. You take it either to the magistrate here in Texas, or you got to take it to the what is it? The AG office, prosecutor, whatever, and you give them the copy of the complaint that you are filing against the officer to hand to the grand jury. Again, I'm led to believe and do believe that it's probably easier to start off going the criminal complaint against the officer directly to the magistrate, which the magistrate's going to be on the officer's side, but you're going to have to take these things with a grain of salt. You want it on record. You want to get copies and all that kind of stuff. Okay? Now, when the officer pulls you over, for my belief, okay, if the officer pulls you over again, maybe for retaliation or other purposes only, well, there's been a criminal complaint against that officer against you, which now is conflict of interest. Can that be legally standing? I don't know because I have not done that process. But again, what do? We never look straight forward. We always look around us, be able to protect ourselves by any means necessary. Isn't that right? So I would go ahead and order some form of there's been a complaint. I'm in fear due to retaliation of this complaint.
It's you can get to them, but it's just not as easy. Magistrates, you can walk right into their office. So take a look at who your state says has a duty to act on your criminal complaints.
Now sit and think about that for a second, right? You can walk directly into the magistrate and hand them your criminal complaints. That's powerful, people. Again, you got to take everything with a grain of salt. The magistrate, what my magistrate did and how I got started in this, what? He ruled for the officer, his officer.
You're going to need to do that. You'll be in a situation, you're encountered by some wrongdoing that the ones who are actually accusing you are doing much worse than they've accused you of doing. And they've skipped due process and they're causing trouble, and you need to know how to hold them accountable. So that's what I would say.
We're basically going through some basics you need to know before, as you get a traffic citation or a code enforcement citation.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to pause there. There's going to be some other parts in here. It's going to probably be a day or two because I got to get off here. Got to go pick up the grandbaby and all that. So this is going to be part 1. And the reason why I'm doing it is because with the other one, it's an hour and some odd minutes. Gives the whole story and they talk a little bit more. I'm breaking it down. All right. Remember, y'all, I'm not an attorney. Everything I say to do is just my opinion, my outlook, because I never look straight forward. I always look around me. I'll be able to protect myself in any means necessary. So, there you go. All right, this is part 1, allegedly. All right, this is Diesel with the People News. Until next time, y'all. See you later.